I practice in an area called class action litigation, and it's a very interesting and unique area of the law that is practiced by, on the plaintiff side, few firms across the country. I kind of fell into the practice because it was an existing practice when I joined the firm. My father, Harvey, is the senior partner at the firm, and he really started the practice shortly after the Class Proceedings Act was proclaimed into force in the early 90s. To be a plaintiff side class action lawyer, you have to have a number of characteristics. And in many ways, it's a very cutthroat business, but at the same time, it's the most rewarding area of practice that I've ever been involved in. You have to be able to work extremely hard, because ordinarily on the other side of the file are multiple law firms with tremendous amounts of resources. You have to be able to assume risk, and you have to be fearless in the face of tremendous competition from the other side. I've been fortunate enough to be exposed to a number of people in the profession who have taught me a great deal. And all starting with my father, Harvey, to my two sisters, to Pat Spate and Kirk Barrett and Joe Groya and former Chief Justice Winkler. And what I've learned from each one of those people is that everybody has a contribution to make, and it might not necessarily be standing up in court. It could be connecting with a client. It could be negotiating in a way that nobody else can. And it could be making the argument in court. But what I've learned from all of those people is that if you assemble a team and you have the right people on the team, that everybody can make a contribution, and you can, if you really know how to make a contribution and think through a problem, you can deliver an excellent result to the clients. For the past 8 years, I've sat on the board of the Windsor-Essex Community Foundation, and it has nothing to do with law, but it's a grassroots community organization that's part of the network of community foundations of Canada. And I'm chair of the grants committee. I'm going to be vice chair of the foundation soon. And every 3 months, we give away hundreds of thousands of dollars to grassroots and community-oriented charities. And really what we try to do is inspire philanthropy in the local community. And I know, for example, that I wouldn't be where I am in my profession if it wasn't for my community in Windsor. So to see, and we actually give checks to organizations, and I'm the person who gives the checks, and then we monitor to see how our grants, how the grant money is actually used. So it's a tremendously rewarding opportunity to, whether it's funding summer camps or therapeutic riding through horses. I mean, there's all kinds of great organizations that we partner with. So that organization has meant a lot to me, and I know it's meant a lot to my community. Practicing on the plaintiff side of, in the class action area is probably the most rewarding thing about the practice of law. There's nothing better than going into work every day and knowing that I'm going to be acting for the underdog. And literally every day, one phone call can change the course of my practice for the next 3 or 4 years. And so when we are able to commence actions on behalf of deserving people who I feel have been wronged, and you have on the other side governments, insurance companies, pillars of the Canadian capital markets, and knowing that even though we are not as well resourced, but we have our knowledge and our experience and our track record, and that when we stand up in court and we are advocating on behalf of a large group of people who on their own probably couldn't afford to hire us for 1 hour if they had to pay, and when we're able to deliver a result for those people, there's nothing more rewarding than that.